Hi guys, we're here with an attitude for Blender, and today let's talk about creating an emboss effect with decals in Decal Machine. So what we're gonna do is create a text decal, but it's gonna be actually engraved. So let me show you how it's done. Let's grab a plane and let's make it a bit smaller, like that, narrower. And let's grab some text. So Shift A and add text. Now let's move it in here so we can see it. And if you go to edit mode, you can, edit it. But before we do that, I want to change the font. So go to font, under text. You can only have 4 fonts running in here, which I have no idea why is it so, but maybe it's something to do with the file format. I really don't know. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do is go to my font library on my drive and actually get this font. I really like it. So let's just change it to the, and now we can have some fun with it. So let's first of all, we need to make it a bit thicker. So right click on it and extrude the size, which will do something like this. And now we can change this to mesh. So Ctrl A and Visual Geo to mesh. Now if you go to edit mode, you will see that this thing got triangulated, which is, created a lot of bloody mess. But you can fix it very easily by simply going to decimate, right? So let's go Q, and I'm doing this with hard ops, by the way, but if you don't have hard ops, just go through the modifier stack here. So I'm gonna go here and decimate, and then we're gonna simply apply it. The default settings are perfect. See, cleaned up the mesh. I have no idea why Blender creates these letters in this fashion, that one side has more segments and the other doesn't. To be precise, I should remove these these edges, but it's just see that the distance between edges here on the other side is a bit different. So we could remove this manually, but what we could also do is Ctrl L this and P to its own selection. Right now we're gonna select these two, all of these edges, and Shift S and cursor to select it, which for some reason will not actually put it in the middle. Let's add a scale and try this again. Shift S to select it. Come on. Didn't I separate this? P, own selection, geometry to mesh. Okay, fine. Let's do it differently. Let's select these and Shift S, and then cursor to origin to cursor. There we go. Now what I can do is simply symmetrize it across the cursor, okay, like this, and everything is peachy. So I'm gonna remove this middle edge and we should be good. If there is some stuff to clean up, we can always run the 3 from the machine tools, and it should clean up all the junk that's around here. This one seems to be disconnected. Let's make this mesh manifold. So let's go to 3D toolbox. It's a Blender add-on. You can install it just by going to edit preferences. It comes with Blender, and I'm gonna make it manifold. And you see now I remove these faces, which means the faces were actually non-manifold. Interesting. So let's add the faces on top and bottom. Maybe decimate messed up some things, but you need to check these things, otherwise you're gonna have a bad day. Let's sharpen this, and now we're back to this state again. So let's symmetrize it again. Let's move this back to the cursor. There we go. Let's try it now. Oh, that's better. Now it should work. So let's see. There we go. Now it's fine. It's a lot of cleanup, guys, sometimes, you know, but it's you know, it's worth doing it, because I'm gonna remove this one to actually no. This one is not actually, no, it's fine. It's fine. This one is fine. That's a lot of these guys too. Holy crap. This might cause some pulling, so you know, I will remove every second one, I think. It's a lot of work, but remember that these decals, they're gonna be created once, and you know, then you can enjoy them forever, so it's really worth of doing it properly. So let's symmetrize it again and remove this stuff from the middle again. And you know what, I think I just might actually combine this. So in fact, I'm going to combine them in the middle. So Shift 1 and Shift 1. You need to have machine tools installed for this to work. So, and what I'm going to do now is simply copy this U. Come on. Copy this U here. So on X-axis, exactly to where this one is, right? So, more or less. Right? And hide it, and I'm just gonna simply delete this. So Control L X and delete, and oops, did it delete it? Delete this one. Same situation on manifold, which means we need to check the other letters. So in fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select everything and just make manifold and see if everything is peachy. Sharpen them. Alright, looks good. So now we need to change, fix this R as well. It's just too many bloody lines, you know, edges, I mean, so let's just, you know, remove this. I'm removing them because when I create a decal, right, this is a little bit too dense and it might actually cause some problems. So I think it's a little bit too thick in terms of edges, so I'm just going to remove them. See, this side is a little bit more relaxed, so let me dissolve them. This one's actually too relaxed, so let's remove these. So every second edge. I wonder if checker deselect would work here. Let's try. So select all these and checker deselect. Yeah, it works. Cool. Alright, so let's remove these. Perfect. So now we can do the same thing here. So select these and checker deselect. Boom. And do it again. So dissolve these. And I think we are good. Alright, so we fixed this problem, and now what we can do is solidify this one, but before we do it, actually let's merge these into one text. So Control J, and let's move it over here, and let's actually make this plane larger, like this, and let's move the origin point to geometry. See, it's not in the middle. I don't know why it's doing this. Let's apply scale and try this again. Yeah, very weird how Blender is computing it. This is not the middle of this text for sure. So anyway, I could go to vert mode and let's see if this is gonna work better. No, so actually this is where Blender is computing the middle of geo. Interesting. All right, well, let's move this text a bit to the right, to the left manually then. Screw Blender and its algorithms, and let's make this text smaller. So, I mean this plane smaller, and now we need to add some solidify to it. Okay, so let's solidify this downwards, and let's, you know, cut it in. So now we cut in, which means we need to, maybe that's a little bit too deep, something like this, and sharpen it. And that's all we need to do. Actually, you know what, before we do that, let's actually bevel these cutters up. So let's grab these cutters and let's bevel them. So let's grab these and these. Let me see. I think now it's okay. I think now it's okay, right? So we need to bevel these two. So let's remove this edge and bevel these two. All right, now we should be good. So now, you know, before we actually apply this, you can, because once you apply a cutter, right, a boolean bevel, Blender will create its own edges, but we could technically run an edge through it like a cut, you know, like a knife cut. But the problem is it's not really a straight line. So you know what, let's just apply it and let's do it again. So I'm gonna do it very quickly. Let me see, sharpen this, there we go. And I'm just gonna do it really quickly, okay? So doesn't matter if it's full, you know, doesn't matter if it's really straight. We're fine as long as it connects to a vert. There we go. And this one, yeah, this one should technically, maybe it's gonna be okay. Yeah, no, this is just dangerous here. This angle is dangerous. Yeah, it's gonna get pulled. So I'm just gonna do something like this again. And here, I think we're gonna be fine actually. This one is a bad news though. This one is bad news. I'm gonna change this. All right. Come on, this one. Okay. So now we need to bevel this. And I think, to be honest, that I'm kind of... I'm thinking about beveling this with hard ups, but you know, I'm just gonna do it probably manually. We need to still bevel this one, right? So what the hell is going on here? Huh? Let me apply scale for a sec. There we go. That was weird. Alright, so that's curved. I think everything is curved. So you know what? Let's select this edge and this edge. And this is going to select the whole loop, which is not desired. So we're going to do it differently. Let's go to a face select and select these faces in the middle. Right? And then let's Control plus it and go to select. Whoops, select and select boundary loops, and we should be PG. And now let's bevel this, but don't go too crazy, because you see, I'll show you. You will overshoot this bevel here, you see. So these, you gotta be really careful with this one. So we need to really check if everything is okay all around. All around. I think we're fine. Right. So let's select these faces again. And let's just now bevel the faces, only the faces, right? So let's see if we didn't pull anything. I think we're good. Right. I think we're good. We should be good to bake, guys. Now the last thing that I want to do is you need to remove this sharp edge, and I hope it will not cause problems from this one, right? And then simply delete the verts, because you want this plane on top to be flat, right? So okay, so let's bake this, and I'm gonna bake it at lower settings just to see how it works. And before I bake it, I'm gonna add a sphere here, make it bigger, and add some subdivisions. shade smooth, and slap some color on it. Go to look depth, and this is not bad, but it could be a little bit brighter and less rough. And maybe it's some clear coat to it. Yeah, will do. Alright, so let's bake it really quickly. This shouldn't take long, maybe a few seconds. This is a little low resolution. There we go. 1 second. And let's grab this and Shift D and drop it in here. And let's see. It's projected and get out of the... Don't be in perspective mode, sorry, in orthographic, because your decal is gonna look like crap. So let's see. See that pulling, you know, it's gonna be really difficult to get around it. I mean, this is still a low resolution. I'm just checking if the shading is okay. So we will bake it at higher resolution. To mitigate this, what you could do is make it a little bit more shallow, because the geo is getting simply pulled down. More or less it's fine. Alright, I'm gonna bake it in a higher res. It looks clean. Looks clean. Looks clean. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna bake it in at, you know, maximum resolution. So let's remove this and let's bake it at higher res. In fact, you know what? We could move this text a little bit higher. So let's see if we can do this. So let's grab this and Control plus here. And we can move it up, so GZ, and move it a little bit up, yeah, so it's not so deep. There we go. And let's try to bake it at max res and see what happens. Alright guys, we baked, and let's just check this, shall we? So let's grab this decal and Shift D, and we can pop it down here. Should be much better. You see, already looks better. So as I said, the geo pulling is usually caused by the distance between the edge, top edge, so the surface that's flush with the surface of the object you're projecting on, and the depth. So if you make it a little bit shallow, it doesn't make really much difference, right? But in terms of, you know, how it looks, but the pulling is much more gentle. Also, you know, shading looks much better in this resolution. So anyway, let's fix this. We can fix this a bit more with parallax. So let's go to E and adjust the parallax to, you know, to some reasonable depth, because we want indentation effect. We don't need some crazy results. And you see that now looks really clean, right? It's really nice. So that's how you create emboss effect decals with Decal Machine, and you can actually add them to, you know, to a subset decal. And if you guys want, I can show you how to do it in a different video. And now if you want to add it to a library, you need to go through this whole process that I showed you many times, which means if you don't have a folder to add decals to, you simply go to Edit, Preferences, and then go to Decal Machine, and then you go down here and you click on empty, then you type your folder name, press enter, should appear here, then you click here to refresh, and then you save preferences. Once you created the folder, you select the decal that you want to add to a folder, you go to this option here and you select the folder that you want to put it in. Actually, you know what, I'm going to drop it in here, and you add it to the library. But you can see that I can't do it, and the reason is why I can't do it is because you need to do it with a decal that's been created. That's why I Shift D it. So you see now I click on this one, which is on top of this geo here. Now I get this, you know, it's not grayed out anymore, this one, right? So now I can add it to this folder. So again, once you create a decal and you want to test it, how it looks, if you don't want to bake it again, do not bloody move this thing, okay? Just Shift D it and copy it to this, to your test sphere, okay? So now when I go to my library and add this decal to the scene, right? Everything should be fine. By the way, the difference in size, that's normal. That's perfectly fine. This is the actual size of a decal. It's actually quite big. If you drop it on a regular plane, this is a regular plane, right? It's about 1 meter long because the plane is 2 by 2, right? So if I put it in here, you see, that's literally 1 meter long, which is huge in reality. So there you go, and let's project it, and there's your embossed decal. So again, the more work you spend on actually pampering this text and the bevels and all these edges, the better the result you're gonna get, right? So these kind of, you know, tiny pulls, you can't avoid this unless the resolution of baking is gonna be increased. I really wish to see one day at least 2K resolution from Decal Machine. So Machine, if you're watching this, you know, we trust in you, mate. Or maybe 4K, because the fact is I like my decals the way I like my girls, you know, clean, you know what I mean? So it just could use a bit more rest, but anyway, it's, you know, it's still pretty peachy. So if you drop it on your geo, and remember this is 1 meter long, so you know, you usually do not see massive decals like this. You make them smaller, but that's the reason why I make them in this resolution, so you can actually resize them, which is why I bake them at max res. Anyway guys, that's all from me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like and sub if you did enjoy the video, helps the channel a lot. And if you do need to buy a machine, add-ons like Decal Machine, Mesh Machine, or Box Cutter and Hard Ops, I'm leaving affiliate links in the description. So if you follow the links and buy it through those links, you're gonna help me as well. Thanks for watching, and I talk to you in the next one.